Hi guys, hi, hello, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing my first update in my Project Pan series, and this is my Project 10 Pan, so my rolling 10 Pan or Team Project Pan 2023, and I'm super excited to talk to you about this update because I have some crazy numbers for you today. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, I hope that you will keep on watching. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care. I also work in the beauty industry as a field leader for Ulta Beauty, so I get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you that education here on my platform. But ultimately, I'm just out here living my best life, talking about makeup because I love to talk about makeup. And if you're here, I assume that you also like to talk about makeup. I'm hoping that you found your happy place here on my channel and that you'll want to subscribe before you go. With that said, let's roll into this Project Pan because again, I have some really great numbers to share with you. All right. So this is my Project Pan in which I picked 10 items out of my collection that I'm focusing in on. It's usually my completion Project Pan. In this Project Pan, I have a goal of 50 items. I had a goal of 50 items last year. I have a goal of 50 items this year. The only difference is this year I picked 25 products out of my collection so that it was a little more strategic that I was pulling items to pull into this with. And I feel like this first update really hit that strategy on the mark because as I see it, I need to empty roughly 5 empties per update in order to see that 50 unit number goal hit. And I think that's a wee bit impossible if I'm honest, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try it with all my might. Now, I only picked 25 items to put into this project, which leaves me 25 to kind of randomize throughout my collection as I'm seeing that I'm using certain items more or that I think are gimme products or those kind of things. You always have to have kind of a balance of gimme products as well as long-term use products in order to get through a rolling project on your channel, because if you don't, then you're just going to start feeling defeated, especially when you're looking towards number goals of 50 or 30 or 20 or more. Last year I was able to finish off 34 items in my Project Pan. The year before that I was able to finish off 34 items in my Project Pan. The year before that was like 22 and the year before that was like 19. So I'm hoping that I can hit 50 items this year. I've got a good plan of action. With that said, let's roll into these numbers because I'm super excited about it. Let's start with this. This is kind of like a no-brainer. This is going to last for the entirety of the year, but this is the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette. I don't do a Pan That palette here on my channel. I feel like if I did that, I would probably not love that project, but I did think that it was a good idea to roll a full-on palette into this Project Pan this year just to see how far I could get with it. I do know that this will likely be in this Project Pan for the entirety of the year, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not going after it to try and empty every single pan in here. That's another thing, another reason why I don't do the Pan That palette. But this is a mostly shimmer, like in that there's one matte in this palette and it looks like this. And I don't think that this is a hard palette to use. The one matte in this palette is this one here. And I think that it does go with most of the shades in this palette, but not all of the shades. I've used this a grand total of 2 times since I rolled it in. So it's no surprise, or should come as no surprise, that when we rolled this in, it weighed in at 147 grams. And today it is still weighing in at 147 grams. I used the matte shadow one time and I used this shimmer over here one time. It's not my favorite shimmer, if I'm honest. I kind of felt that to be kind of just a ho-hum kind of shimmer. I'm still excited to have this in the project and still excited to see where I land at the end of the year with that palette, but that will definitely be the longest haul item in this project, I'm hoping. And again, no weight change on that guy. The next product I have in here is this guy here, and this is the Zoeva Authentic Natural Luminous Foundation, and you guys can see just by the line markings where it was when I first rolled it in and where it sits now. Now where it sits now, the bottom of this line mirrors the bottom of like the where I can negotiate that this foundation is sitting, and the goal for this one was to finish this long term, but I want to get down to authentic skin, which is this first line of words, prior to rolling this out for the summer, because this is definitely not a shade that I can use during the summer. It is just far too light. It is what's on my face today, but I have found that I am having to mix it with a whole bunch of other things. Like I mix it with this foundation and some deepening drops to enable me to get it resembling the shade that I am today. And that said, it definitely is not going to be anywhere near the shade I need it to be during the summer season. So at the end of the day, this will probably roll out in March. I'm hoping that I can hit that authentic skin by our next update, roll it out, roll something else in, and then bring this back into this project probably around October to finish it up. This guy did weigh in at 138 grams when we brought it in January, and today it is weighing 133 grams. So a little bit of usage you guys can see, and we can also see that just by the line markings there has been, you know, quite a bit of usage on it. I am using it every day for the most part. It is the only foundation that I've been using up to and including kind of putting every foundation that's in my Shop My Stash on the back burner just so that I could get through as much of that as possible prior to March. But that will also be a long haul item for me. This is the Gimme Brow Gel. This is a tinted brow gel. It is in the shade 3 as per the Benefit shade ranges. This guy did weigh in at 8 grams when we brought it in last month, and this month, for some miracle of a reason, is weighing in at 9 grams. I don't know, maybe the weights were off last month, or the weights are maybe off this month, I'm not sure, but still pretty wet, and it still has a lot of color to it. Otherwise, typically when this starts to dry out, there's not much color that comes off from the spoolie onto your eyebrows. So I have had multiple of these in my collection at one point in time or another. I do know when it dries up, it's not quite dried up yet, but I do feel that sense of it starting to like maybe deplete in the amount that's in it. I have had this in my collection for quite some time, or starting to get a little bit dry. What I would say about it too is when I do use it in my brows, which is not in my brows today, but when I do use it in my brows, it's very strange because this is kind of a brown tone, but it makes my brows appear almost the same color as my hair. So it's weird to me, but this is still in my project, will probably remain in my project for at least the next couple months. This is the Benefit Gimme Brow Plus Volumizing Pencil. This is a pencil brow product. It does have a spoolie on the other end, and I do have line markings on this guy for where it sits, which I'll put a picture of in here. I don't weigh this product because it's a pencil. We'll be able to see it's depleting through this project pan. There has been quite a significant amount of use on this brow product. It is a brow product that I am using every single day. I can go through brow products pretty quickly when I am really utilizing them, and I actually quite like this brow product. Typically, when my brows are freshly done by the magical hands of an arch expert, as I say, I don't typically use pencils. I just use my clear 24-hour brow gel, but it's been a while since my brows have been done, so I have been using this pencil because they're not tinted. That gives me a really great color to my brows. It is in what is in my brows today, and as you can see by the pictures, we have used a significant amount of it, so really happy with that. The next thing I have is the Thrive Cosmetics Lip plump lip filler lip liner, and this is in the shade Gislon. This is another one that I have a picture of that you guys will see, but this is what we have left in this picture. It is what's on my lips today. It is something that I have been wearing almost every day. I feel like it's a really good match to the lip product that I have currently in my Deck of Panning project that I'm having to use. But it's also just a really beautiful tone of lip liner, and I find myself wanting to wear it every single day because it's like the perfect like deep nude for me. I really do like this lip liner. I feel like it goes on really, really well. It's very creamy, so there's no pulling and tugging. And I do think that there also has been a significant amount of progress on this guy since pulling it in. I think probably 1, maybe 2 more months and this will be gone. The last 5 products are rolling out. So how crazy is that? Now this one isn't rolling out because it's empty, because obviously, can you hear it? There's still a ton of freaking product in this. This isn't the first one that this has done this to me on, but you can't, it doesn't spray anymore. Hourglass. Whatever you are doing to this packaging to make it so it falls apart as quickly as it does, you need to fix, because this is not necessarily a cheap setting spray. This is a really expensive setting spray. And this is like the second, I think the second bottle I've had, because my first bottle did this. And I was like, oh, no way in hell that'll happen again. It certainly did. So this one had 134 grams of product in it when we rolled it in. I think I had used it a handful of times prior to rolling it into this project. And right now it still has 116 grams of product in it. So I did use approximately 18 grams of product, which I'm really proud about. But on the 23rd, I went to go spray it and it wouldn't spray. So I only got like 20 days of use before this no longer was working. And there's a ton of product in there. So I'm not necessarily calling this an empty, but at the same time, I feel like it's not fair for me to not call it an empty because I did use it to the capacity that it allowed me to use it. So, I mean, it's rolling out of my project, but it's not becoming an empty as it pertains to empties that count for me in my beauty bank, if that makes any sense. But I'm a little twisted. I'm kind of mad that that it happened again. It's not a cheap setting spray. So that's going into the garbage for no reason other than the component quit working, which makes me mad. The rest of it is all empties. So first and foremost, I have this. This is the NARS Tinted Lip Balm, and it is in the shade Laguna. And I have a picture of it where it started, and this is where we are at today. So I will put both up. It didn't have much left in it, and I think I told you guys at the same time as I rolled this in that this was going to be an easy gimme product because this was my purse balm. Kept it in my purse all the time. Well, towards the end of its lifespan, towards the last part of this month, I did put it at my desk and was using it all throughout the day as well. My lips have been very dry because it's very dry outside. So I was able to use this up in entirety, and I'm super, super stoked about that. So that's one empty. The second empty is going to be this, which was the Valentino V-Lighter face base. It is a primer, and it is a primer that I will probably purchase a full size of because I loved this primer. It was beautiful. It's got kind of this like iridescence to it that makes your skin just glowy and healthy and beautiful. It didn't last long in my collection. It's obviously just a little like travel or sample size item, but it did participate in my collection in that it was part of my inventory. So I did put it into this project pan as a product that I wanted to finish up. This guy weighed 9 grams when we brought it in. It still weighs 7 grams. So there was only 2 grams worth of product in this guy, but I feel like I got a good, well, I rolled it out on the 18th. So I got probably 10 days worth of use out of this little tiny thing. So I'm really happy with that. And again, it is a primer that I can see myself purchasing in the future. The next one that I finished up was this. This is the Bobbi Brown Longwear Cream Shadow Stick, and it is in the shade Vanilla. This had been in my Project 10 pen last year as well. I brought it in I think August of last year as an almost brand new item, and I used it pretty consistently all throughout last year, and then chose to bring it into this year's project pen as well because there was so little of it left, and I do have pictures of it from here. This crayon was this guy here, and there just wasn't a whole lot of product left of it last week. And so I did end up digging the product out of here in order to get the most usage out of it. I love shadow sticks as eye primer, so that is what I use this for. What I will say is the only reason why this got dug out, because you'll notice that the NARS lip gloss is not dug out. And I don't tend to dig products out to get what's left in the component. It's just not worth it to me. In my humble opinion, it creates more of a mess than I really want to deal with. But I did dig this out because this is the only eye primer that I took with me to go out in my market over this last week. And I didn't realize, I guess, that it was as low as it was. So I did have to dig it out in order to have an eye primer to use. And the eyeshadow that I currently have on my face and what I was using last week, you kind of have to have an eye primer for it to stick around on your eyes. So I did dig this guy out, but it is empty now. It is completely and totally empty. So one last product in my collection. And then the last empty that I have is this. And this is the second primer. Granted, this primer was nothing. And this primer was also in my project pan last year, so I chose to roll it back into this year's project pan. I did finish up that V-lighter before I started working on this one again. Last time I had it marked right there, but I think I didn't obviously use all of this in the last, 12 days of the month. But I do think that what happened was it was creeping up on the sidewalls, but it was like depleting only in the center of the product. So when I ended up taking it with me out on the road as my face primer for work, it laid in my bag like this. And when it laid in my bag like this, I could see just how little of the product was left after it settled. And I ended up having to take this guy out and scrape the sidewalls in order to get enough product out for me to be able to use as a primer for my face. I'm really happy to say it's completely empty. Like, I have literally scraped those sidewalls as much as I possibly can. I am wearing it today. The last of it was what I had to wear today. This did weigh in at 87 grams when we rolled it in. It still weighs in at 80 grams. So the component in and of itself is probably that entire 80 grams because everything else in this is gone. And I think that you guys can see that. So now let's talk about the 5 products that we're rolling in. So I tried to match for match, and I also tried to just go off of what was on my list of the 25 products that I wanted to get, used up in my project pan this year. So to replace the primers that I had originally brought in, I am bringing in my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. As you guys can see, there is certainly not much left of this product, and I do have it marked over here, but I do think that that mark could be potentially kind of in the wrong place because one side of the container does appear to have more on that side than the other. So the line marking might not be able to help us out very much, but this is coming in today as I'm filming 2/4 at 82 grams. The next one is this one, and this actually was the first one that I rolled in. So when this guy quit working, I don't do anything without a setting spray. So I did roll in the brand new to my collection, came in with my lucky bag, Charlotte Tilbury Airless Flawless Setting Spray. So I've got a couple of weights for you already. When I rolled it in on the 29th of January because I couldn't go out of town without a setting spray with me. And it weighed 84 grams. It was sitting at that top line there. Today it's sitting at that next line and it is 81 grams. So about 3 grams of usage already. I do think that this could probably roll out next update because it is just a travel size setting spray, and I use setting spray all the time, every day, multiple times a day. So I'm excited for what that will look like next update. The next thing I am bringing in to replace the NARS lip gloss is this Clinique lip gloss. And I do think that I have it marked just slightly under where it actually is sitting because I marked it before I let it sit out. So it's actually sitting slightly above that marker. So next month, if that mark doesn't move at all, let's make note that that's probably why. But this guy is weighing in at 14 grams, and I have emptied one of these before, and it empties at 13 grams. It stays 13 grams for quite some time, and then it just is empty, and it still weighs 13 grams. This is the Clinique Pop Splash Lip Gloss in Air Kiss, and it is a beautiful, just creamy, corally shade that doesn't really do much to change the color of the lip gloss or lip pencil or lipstick that you have on your lips, but it does a lot to make your lips look pretty. To replace the shadow stick that I had in as an eye primer, I am bringing in this Alamar Peri Purito primer. It is an eye primer that's kind of got a little bit of a tacky base. It is what I am wearing today. I remember not loving this the first time I used it because I wasn't expecting it to be as tacky as it is. But I don't have a weight on this. We are going to watch the line markings on this one go down. So that is where it's sitting today. As you can see, I kind of just marked it where it bends. And I do think that we're going to see a good amount of movement in this month over month, but I also think that this is probably a long haul item. And then the last one that I have is this, and this is the Ulta Beauty brand Foundation Adjusting Drops. So I brought this in because you guys can see the separation here where it is separated from what is still remaining on the side of the bottle. This is pretty old in my collection. It is also like one of 3 different deepening drop bottles that I have in my collection. I also think that it could be a really great gimme product because of the Zoeva foundation that I'm currently using. I have been using this every single day. So it's something that I am bringing in as a wild card product in addition to this. Neither one of these items were on my list of 25 to use, but the other 3 were. So this is coming in today at 35 grams of product inside of it. And I do think that we could have it used up probably by the end of next month, if that's how long it takes me to get to where I need to with that Zoeva foundation. I don't use very much of this when I do use it, which is why it's lasted forever in my collection, but I'm excited to potentially make movement of that out of my collection as well. And that is a product that lives in my inventory as well. So that is 10 full products of inventory usage items. I'm really disappointed in this, but really super happy that I have 4 full empties in this update. And that takes 5 empties out of this project. For project purposes, I am calling this an empty because I can't use it anymore. It decided it failed me. So I am calling this an empty, not a declutter for project purposes, but it won't filter into my beauty bank. With that said, I hope that you guys are excited about this update. I am excited about this update, and I'm excited to start using the products that I'm pulling in now. This is one of my favorite primers, so I don't anticipate it's going to take forever for me to use it up. And these lip glosses don't take forever either. So I do think that I still have quite a few long-term products in there, but I also know that there's quite a few in there that I'll be able to kind of just barrel right on through. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you and yours are well. I hope that you all are safe and healthy and getting along as best you can in this crazy world that we're living in right now. Let me know how your project pans are going, and if you have one, let me know where I can find you so I can go watch yours. Thank you guys again so much for watching me, and until next time, bye friends.